cafe anyway.
The other song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Look at where we are. We're in Podcastro Valley today.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
With the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. This is how I'm going to sound in about 20 years. Yeah, I've been found to get a little crazy at the beginning of the show. It's episode 2079. If you like that, that's fine, because we are doing this show live from Cafe Anyway somewhere in
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Podcastro Valley 10, the last place on earth. And I am going to videotape some of this
Mike's
interaction
Daily
because
Podcast.
I uploaded to the YouTubes.
Yeah!
And yes, I'm one of those old people that puts a S behind stupid things like internets. And I go to the supermarkets. No, that's not really an example. So how are we doing today? Here we are. A lot of you have Friday off. Technically I do, but I'm still doing this podcast with you. Hey, here's something I discovered. Here's a first world issue that I don't quite understand, and that is, how do you stop looking like you're in reverse once you've done your little selfie video for YouTube? Because I noticed when I uploaded my video for YouTube yesterday, my Mike's Daily Podcast logo was in reverse. So I was looking at you were seeing the mirror image of me, which if you've ever seen a superstar, a mega actress, and you're so used to their face looking a particular way, and then you see the mirror image of them, you're like, whoa, what the heck? What? But what's odd is that actor or actress or whomever is used to their face looking in the mirror. They are familiar with that. They've grown accustomed to that face. Isn't that so fascinating? Chuckie Cheese is going bankrupt.
And here's today's podcast.
Chuckie Cheese is filed for bankruptcy and divorce from the world of business. Isn't that sad? I wanted to get to that piece of news last time, but we had the lovely lady friend with us last time. Hey, there's a map of the U.S. right behind me there. And there's another map of something, and there's the logo, and there's all this stuff. Why aren't you looking at this now on the YouTube channel for Mike's Daily Podcast? It's fantastic. Look, I don't even know what this is, a logo from some old video game. If you know what it is, you can call me at 336-MM-DAILY and check it out at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Thank you, Basil the Boxer. All right, it says okay. Basil's going to help me do this. Let's see. I am not getting why this is not... It's not flipping around. I guess I will have to check this out at some point, because it looks like when I upload it, it will be in reverse, and it'll look like the mirror image yet again. It's just like a mirror. Oh, looking back at me. A little Justin Timberlake music for you. The podcast picture today is myself. And this is how I look, not in mirror image, but in straightforward image. And you can see that at MikesDailyPodcast.com. It is from a nice little hike I did in 5 Canyons. And those trees behind me, this is fascinating. This trail goes down into this valley. And I don't know where this goes, but you can walk this trail. Let's see. Does it have a name? I'm looking at it. It's just a bunch of dots. Okay, let's see. Looking at Google Maps, it goes down, and it goes over to this. It goes along. Oh, and then it just dead ends. Oh, that's weird. It just dead ends somewhere. Where's that even near? If you know Fairview Avenue, it's somewhere between Fairview Avenue and Palomares Road. Palomares Road goes down Palomares Canyon near Podcastro Valley. Somewhere in this weird valley, this abandoned trail just stops. And what's odd is that, according to all the markers, this trail should take you all the way around the bay. It's the, what do they call that trail? The trail the East Bay Regional Park District, I don't know, they have some trail that you can go all the way around the bay with it, and I don't think it can let you do that, because right there it pretty much goes into this valley and disappears. And had I walked down that valley, I would disappear. How strange. So radio stations need to make money, and they need to, they need to get you to or buy the things that they're advertising on the radio. And I find it fascinating that this one guy that I have worked with, he will hear the commercials on the air, and he will not say the company that's advertising the particular thing. But he will say about that particular product or service or whatever that, that's not going to work. That doesn't happen. You can't do that. That's going to lead you, basically tells you every reason why it unadvertises it, but doesn't actually say the company's name. That is interesting. I don't think most radio hosts would do that or should do that. It kind of goes to what I do on my podcast when I do a plug and a slug. Sometimes I don't even realize it, but I am totally endorsing something. And then I go, I'm giving it a plug, but now I'm going to give it a slug. And then I'll say something bad about it. So, for example, David Foster. David Foster is a great producer. He produced a lot of big songs. He did the song in the St. Elmo's Fire movie, the one that John Pyre did, St. Elmo's Fire. And then there's also the love theme. Dun 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 boom boom dun dun. And so he's very talented, has worked with a myriad of people, Barbra Streisand, Celine Dion, a lot of singers, crooners, Whitney Houston, from the Bodyguard soundtrack. He's won countless awards, made a bunch of cash, marries young women. In fact, that's the thing. Here's the slug, is that he's had several daughters from several women. He's had, I guess he mostly has daughters when he has had children, and the daughters all speak very badly of him. And this is on Netflix. And Chicago, the band Chicago, doesn't like him because they had a specific sound, and then when Dave Foster got a hold of him, they started putting out all the ballads, like You're the Inspiration, and Hard for Me to Say I'm Sorry, and the one Your Hard Habit to Break, and all those. And Chicago was like, that's not how we should sound, yet they made a ton of money off of it. So, plugs and slugs, folks. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Here's a question for you. Knock, knock. Who's there? Interrupting cow who moo. That is such a great joke. Anyone who doesn't. So here's when you tell a joke like that, and the person who's like either not listening or not engaged with you, and it's not because they don't have a sense of humor. Okay, I guess some people don't have a sense of humor, and I guess jokes are a subjective thing. But to hear that joke, and the response should be either laughter or, oh, I get it. But it should never be this one. It should never be, uh-huh. Because that's just not even, you're not even engaged, people. That's a great joke. But that's someone who's going into it going, I hate knock-knock jokes. I hate all jokes. I'm not going to laugh. I'm a miserable, miserable person, and leave me alone. That's not really the way. I don't think that's how it works. That's just not how it works, as that old lady once said in that commercial for whatever it was. Oh, yes. It was for, they were trying to, do you remember that awful, awful commercial with the old ladies? And she's like, I'm going to unfriend you now. And because she doesn't understand what Facebook is. This is my face wall. Back when we had walls. Oh, wow. Wasn't that a thing at one time? Walls? Or is that still a thing? I haven't been on Facebook in so long. By the way, you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Mike Talks. I just remember your wall used to be a big thing, and now it doesn't matter anymore. Someone said to me, Trump wanted to spend all that money on a wall and keep people out of America. Now we don't even have to do that because people go in other countries. We fly to the other countries, and they took one look at us and they go, "Are you the country that lets people just go to bars and associate, and you have coronavirus parties where a bunch of young people get together and then everybody puts their name down and it's almost like a bingo, like who's going to catch coronavirus? Are you that country?" Yeah. Get out! That's the kind of country we don't need to. We've built our own walls. Now people won't let us into their countries because of how we have been acting with this COVID. But today has been a day of interesting conversations that I've had with people. And people discussing the differences. Somebody pointed out to me, okay, you've got California liberals who are all like, that's right, Gavin Newsom. That's right, Gavin Newsom. Close those bars, close those things, close all that. We got to keep the coronavirus from infecting people and spiking. Yet they'll be the first to go to the beach and say, "You stay away from me, Gavin Newsom. This is California. I need to go to the beach. And I ain't wearing a mask." Shut up, Gavin Newsom. So we're wearing these masks, and we are doing a lot of mouth breathing. We're not breathing so much through our nose. It's hard to breathe through a mask. It is not that comfortable. So we're breathing more through our mouths to get the air that we're not getting because the nose isn't cutting it. However, when you sleep at night, apparently nasal breathing is incredibly important for sleeping. You get way better sleep with nasal breathing, I heard from someone. Which, I don't know, that makes sense. That's why those companies that the Breathe Right strips. My ex-wife used Breathe Right strips so much. Even after we got divorced and years have gone by, I am still finding Breathe Right strips all around the house. She used it every single night. That company made a lot of money off of my ex-wife and by me and extension to that. But I know one guy who puts on some kind of a horn or something on his nose. A cone. That's what it is, a cone to help him breathe through his nose at night. Isn't that something? So all these states closing up or going backwards. My mom was saying today, this Dr. Fauci, I don't think he knows what he's talking about, because he was saying that when it got hotter during the summer, the coronavirus would die off a bit, and then in November the second wave would happen. But no, it's even worse in the summer. And she goes, I know that from my own life. My mom, who's in her 80s now, she remembers back in the day when they had things like tuberculosis that they'd have to worry about. And the bad diseases would always come back worse in the summer. People just knew that. But it's all about working from home now, everyone. Working from home and being inundated by those ridiculous emails all the time. And like I was saying that one podcast a little while ago about CCing, I'm being CC'd constantly and I'm getting CC sick of it. Listen, let's stop doing that. Let's stop seeing everyone. I need you to be able to see this, Mike, because I wrote an email to someone and you should be able to see it. No. Stop it. It puts the email, it puts a charge on the email that's not necessary. People need to learn that's what I've discovered in my shelter-in-place world. And that we're going to just in the future need less office space. So maybe that wasn't a good, smart investment to invest in a office building. When all these places, they're closing up. They're like, you know what? All our workers are working from home. And all this space we're using, we're not having clients come in anymore. Forget it. That's crazy. Hey, I'm looking at old notes that I took once upon a time. Let's see. This is one I wrote down. I'm a Kamala mama. Oh, this is back when I liked Kamala Harris. I'm a Kamala mama. Let's see. What's this other one? I can't read that one. That doesn't look like something I should say out loud. Can we stop the TV commercial with people in... Oh, yeah. They have all these TV commercials where people are standing in front of a boring white background. And they have the people standing, and they stand awkward. Do you know what I'm talking about, these TV commercials? They usually shoot it like it's all white floor, white background. The person's talking to the camera. There's usually some kind of quirky music. Boop, boop. Or some stupid, banjo or the mandolin playing, little ukulele playing. And they're like, hey, next time you're thinking about washing your clothes, use this new product. Why are we doing these commercials with the white background? This is why I hate watching TV commercials. I don't do it. It's why I do not do it. I go out of my way. I'm a huge friend of Netflix, a huge friend of YouTube. Actually, I watch so much on YouTube, as I've discussed recently. And then I can skip the ad after 5 seconds sometimes, usually. Hopefully, that'll continue. But yes, and they stand like they're not standing naturally. They're standing like full, like they don't know, like the director just said, put your arms over here and stand as rigid as possible. And then say the lines as cutesy as possible. Yeah, that's going to work. That's every commercial. All right, I hope I have explored all this stuff and made you feel awkward and more knowledgeable and at the same time. Looks at the outside cafe talking weird now, Mike. Out Castro Valley, Mike talking odd. Who's here now?
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. So the Dixie Chicks are no longer the Dixie Chicks. They're just the Chicks.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Yes. And you can hear an interview with the Chicks at my website, MikesDailyPodcast.com, back when they were called the Dixie Chicks. And I felt weird, not because I said the word Dixie, but because I said the word Chicks. And I felt weird talking to the ladies, the young ladies, the young women in the room with me and calling them chicks, like, hey, chicks, I'm Andrew Dice Clay. It's always the fear of becoming Andrew Dice Clay. That's what it was back in the 90s when they first came out. But now it's all, you can't say Dixie. That was the name of one of those mice from that Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Dixie and Pixie. So that's not going to be on TV anymore. Not that it has been, but look who else is here. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I don't know how to reverse that video image for your YouTube upload, Mike Matthews. Yes, it's a mystery. YouTube, please tell me. Or call me, 336MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been for many, many days now. And Willie Nelson is still alive as of this recording, and according to the internets, the annual 4th of July picnic with Willie Nelson will be a virtual event due to COVID-19 concerns. What? Is Sheryl Crow going to be there? Is Sheryl Crow going to be there? That's generally Willie Nelson concerts have a lot of that. But apparently, in recent years, Willie Nelson has said that he regrets smoking so much marijuana because it has destroyed his lungs. That's the fear, my friend. The inhaling of the smoke. That's what's really not good for you. Why people forget that, I don't know. But Sheryl Crow's going to be there. Ziggy Marley, the son of Jacob Marley from the Christmas Carol. No, Bob Marley. Steve Earle's going to be there. Lyle Lovett, Robert Earl Keen, Kinky Friedman. Oh, Kinky Friedman's still alive. Interesting. He was a hilarious Jewish cowboy, is what I think his moniker was back in the day. He's 87 now. His 70th album was actually released today, called First Rose of Spring. Get out of here. And he does a version of a Toby Keith song and a Chris Stapleton song. Interesting. And then Iran threatens retaliation after what it calls a possible cyber attack on their nuclear site. Yes, their nuclear sites had cyber attacks. Interesting. And then there was an online video and message reportedly claiming responsibility for a fire that damaged a centrifuge assembly plant. Folks, that's about it. Cases up in 40 states for the coronavirus, so please keep wearing those face masks. The deaths lag at least 2 weeks as cases rise in 40 states, says the Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams. What do you think about all that? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been. And thank you. Oh, by the way, real quick thought. I heard somebody say that we are so anti-socialism in this world, in this country, not in this world. There's socialistic countries all over the place, but America, we refuse to be socialist. We don't want socialized medicine. Even though Obamacare passed and a lot of people defended Obamacare, even, going to town hall meetings and yelling at Republican politicians, keep my Obamacare, I want to keep my Obamacare. And yet, it's interesting in our Republican-led country that we are practicing a form of socialism with the corporations that are doing poorly. They get bailout money, and this is nothing new, but it's interesting in our Republican-run country that corporations are getting a bunch of money to keep them from failing, and that's like a form of socialism. There's socialism with the corporations. That's interesting. Or not. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Thank you for listening. And I will be on the radio station kkdv.com this weekend, on Sunday, actually, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at kkdv.com. And this is Mike Matthews. Thanks for listening to my show. Telling us more about that is A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!